I want to begin with a simple truth. The conversations we have with ourselves shape everything. More than the opinions of others, more than the noise of the world, it's the voice in your head that builds you up or tears you down. So today I want to talk about 9 things you should tell yourself every single day. Not just to stay positive, but to stay grounded. Not just to feel better, but to become better. These are not mantras. They're not motivational slogans. They are reminders, anchors. They help you stay aligned with the kind of person you're trying to be. Let's begin. 1. I am enough. You don't have to prove your worth every day. You are not defined by your productivity, your performance, or the approval of others. Start from enough. Improve from enough. But don't chase worth. You already have it. Progress is better than perfection. Perfection is a trap. It paralyzes us. But progress is momentum. It means you showed up even when it was hard. Keep moving. 1 step, 1 choice, 1 action. That's enough to build greatness. My time and energy are precious. Every yes you say to something unimportant is a no to something that matters. Choose wisely. Your energy is a resource. Don't let people or distractions drain what you should be investing in your purpose. I can do hard things you've overcome before. You've adapted, rebuilt, grown. You don't need it to be easy. You need to believe you're capable and remind yourself that discomfort is often the birthplace of growth. Kindness is strength. The world teaches us to be tough, to win. But never forget, kindness is not weakness. It's a choice, a strong one. The courage to be compassionate in an unkind world is rare. Be that rare person that it's okay to rest. You're not a machine. You don't recharge by pushing harder, you recharge by stopping. Rest is not quitting, it's preparing. The best performers in the world build rest into their routines. So should you not everyone will understand me, and that's okay. You're not here to please everyone. You're not for everyone. The more you grow, the more misunderstood you might be. Don't shrink to fit in. Stay honest, stay aligned. The right people will see you. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need to earn our value. From a young age, we're taught that achievements equal approval, that being productive means being worthy, and that success is the currency of self-esteem. But this belief that self-worth must be earned is one of the most damaging mindsets we can carry. The truth is, self-worth is not earned, it's inherent. It's something we are born with. It doesn't come from what we do, it comes from who we are. Yet, because of societal conditioning, many of us measure our worth by our titles, our appearance, our bank accounts, or how others respond to us. We constantly strive to do more, be more, prove more just to feel like we matter. We chase the next win, the next approval, hoping that one day we'll finally feel like we're enough. But here's the hard truth. If you don't believe you're worthy now, nothing you achieve will make you. Feel that way later. Worthiness is not a destination. It's a starting point. When you start from the belief that you are already enough, something shifts. You begin to act from a place of confidence, not insecurity. You no longer hustle for validation. You stop living for applause and start living in alignment. You make decisions based on values, not fear. This doesn't mean you become complacent or stop striving. It means you stop chasing worth and start expressing it. Think about it like this. A newborn baby has no accomplishments, no job, no followers, no achievements, and yet we look at that child and recognize its value instantly. Why? Because that child is inherently worthy simply by existing. That truth doesn't vanish as we grow older. It's just that life layers expectations and comparisons on top of it until we forget. But that intrinsic worth, it never disappears. It's still there. We just need to remember it. Living from inherent worth doesn't mean ignoring feedback or refusing growth. It means you're no longer dependent on external outcomes to feel good about yourself. You can still strive, but now your effort comes from purpose, not pressure. You can still grow, but you're growing from fullness, not emptiness. The difference is subtle but powerful. When you believe your worth depends on success, failure becomes unbearable. Every mistake feels like a threat to your identity. But when you believe you are already worthy, failure becomes feedback, not a verdict. You don't fear it, you learn from it. You grow stronger, not smaller. The most resilient, grounded people don't think they're better than others, they just know they don't have to prove themselves constantly. They've done the inner work to trust that. Who they are is already enough. And from that place, they lead. They build. They connect. They create impact not to earn their worth, but to express it. So every day, remind yourself, I am enough. Say it. Even if you don't fully believe it yet, especially then. Say it until the voice in your head gets quieter, until the striving loses its grip, until your actions come from love, not lack. Because your worth isn't found in what you achieve. It's found in the quiet truth that you are already whole. You always have been. Perfection is one of the most seductive illusions we face. It whispers that if we just work a little harder, wait a little longer, or plan a little better, we'll finally get it finally just right. That the moment we perfect something, our work, our appearance, our relationships will feel peace, fulfillment, and success. But that moment rarely comes. Perfection is not a finish line, it's a moving target. And chasing it often leads us not to greatness, but to paralysis. Progress, on the other hand, is real, it's measurable, it's forward movement, even if it's slow or messy. And more importantly, it's enough. When you choose progress over perfection, you allow yourself to take action without waiting for everything to be flawless. You give yourself permission to start before you're ready, to try without guarantees, to learn through doing. And in that process, you grow, you evolve, you improve not in theory, but in reality. Perfectionism disguises itself as high standards, but more often it's rooted in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. It tells us that unless something is perfect, it's not worth doing at all. But progress says do it anyway. It invites us to show up even when we're unsure. It welcomes mistakes as part of the journey. Progress doesn't need to impress, it just needs to move forward. Look at any success story, and you'll find a path marked by missteps, edits, and second tries. No masterpiece began as one. Every great book was once a bad first draft. Every business was once an unpolished idea. Every strong leader once struggled with self-doubt. The difference isn't that they avoided failure. It's that they kept going. They let go of perfection and committed to progress. When we cling to perfection, we often avoid starting. We tell ourselves we need more time, more resources, more certainty. But progress begins when we start where we are, with what we have, and take one imperfect step. That single step builds momentum. It teaches us more than thinking ever could. And with each small action, we gain clarity, skill, and confidence. Progress also builds trust with ourselves. Every time we take action, even when it's messy, we reinforce the belief that we are capable. We stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. This shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of seeing obstacles as proof that we're not ready, we begin to see them as opportunities to learn. Instead of being crushed by setbacks, we become resilient. And resilience, not perfection, is what leads to lasting success. There's a quiet freedom in choosing progress. You start to value the journey, not just the result. You begin to notice how far you've come, not just how far you have to go. You learn to celebrate small wins instead of ignoring them in pursuit of the next big thing. And you begin to show yourself grace because you understand that growth is rarely linear and it's never flawless. So shift your focus. Trade the fantasy of perfection for the reality of movement. Start writing the messy first page. Make the call you've been avoiding. Try even if you're not ready. Because done is better than perfect. And forward even slowly is better than stuck. Progress may not look impressive in the moment. It might feel awkward, uncertain, or even like failure. But over time, it compounds. It builds confidence, skill, and momentum. And most importantly, it gets you where perfection never will, into action, into growth, into real success. Let perfection go. It's holding you back. Progress is what carries you forward. Time and energy are two of the most valuable resources we have, yet they are often spent carelessly, unconsciously, or on things that leave us feeling drained and unfulfilled. Unlike money, we can't earn more time. We can't save it for later. Once a moment is gone, it's gone. And while energy can be replenished to some extent, it's not infinite. Every day you wake up with a certain amount, and how you use it determines not just your productivity, but your peace of mind, your relationships, and ultimately the life you're building. We often talk about time management as if the goal is simply to cram more into the day. But the deeper truth is that how we spend our time reveals what we truly value. If we say family is important, but we give our best energy to work and leave our loved ones with the scraps, the math doesn't add up. If we say we want to grow, but we spend our time scrolling, avoiding, and overcommitting to things that don't matter, then our choices are speaking louder than our intentions. Being intentional with your time and energy is not about becoming rigid or hyper-efficient. It's about being clear. It means knowing what truly matters to you and aligning your actions with those values. It means asking yourself regularly, is this worth it? Not in a transactional way, but in a meaningful one. Is this conversation, this commitment, this task adding to my life or pulling me away from what matters most? There's a cost to everything we say yes to. Saying yes to a project may mean saying no to rest. Saying yes to a meeting may mean saying no to deep work. Saying yes to everyone else's needs may mean saying no to your own. The idea that we can do it all is a myth. We can do a few things well, and those few things should be chosen deliberately. Energy is especially important because it's not just about how long something takes, it's about how much of yourself it requires. Some tasks take 10 minutes but leave you exhausted. Others take an hour and make you feel alive. Protecting your energy means paying attention to what fills you and what empties you. It means noticing which people, environments, and habits nourish your spirit and which ones leave you feeling depleted. This doesn't mean avoiding all hard things. Some of the most meaningful experiences in life are also the most demanding. But there's a difference between spending energy, wasting it. When you spend energy on something that aligns with your values, it might tire you, but it won't diminish you. When you waste energy on things that don't matter or on trying to control what you can't eat, chips away at your well-being over time. The key is being selective. Not everything deserves a response. Not everyone deserves access to your mental space. You don't owe your time to every invitation or your energy to every demand. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're responsible. They're how you protect what matters most so that your best energy goes to the people and projects that truly deserve it. Start treating your time and energy like currencies. Budget them. Invest them. Spend them in ways that reflect your priorities, not your priorities. Because at the end of the day, how you use them is how you build your life. Every yes you give should be an intentional one. Every no should be a conscious protection of what matters. The most fulfilled people are not the busiest, they're the ones who've learned to spend wisely. Mental resilience is not something you're born with, it's something you build. And it begins with one powerful ingredient: belief. Before grit, before habits, before strategy or support, there is belief, the quiet but unwavering conviction that you can get through what you're facing. Without belief, challenges feel impossible. With belief, even the toughest situations become opportunities to grow. Belief is the foundation of resilience because it influences how we interpret failure, setbacks, and adversity. When you believe you are capable, even if not yet skilled, you're more likely to persist. You're more likely to get back up when life knocks you down. You're more likely to view pain as part of the process, not a signal to stop. This belief isn't about blind optimism or pretending everything is fine. It's about trusting your own ability to adapt, learn, and endure. It's the voice inside that says, "This is hard, but I can handle it." That voice doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to convince anyone else. It just needs to speak louder than fear, louder than doubt, louder than the temptation to quit. Mental resilience starts small. It's built in everyday decisions, choosing to try again after failure, showing up when you don't feel like it, leaning into discomfort instead of avoiding it. And each time you do those things, you reinforce the belief that you can handle difficulty. That belief becomes stronger, more reliable, and eventually automatic. The opposite is also true. If you tell yourself you're not strong, not capable, not built for pressure, you start to prove yourself right. You give up earlier, you shrink from challenge. And over time, that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your thoughts shape your behavior, and your behavior reinforces your thoughts. That's why belief is such a critical starting point. It affects everything that comes after. Resilient people don't have easier lives. They don't avoid pain or hardship. What they do have is a mindset that interprets struggle differently. They believe setbacks are temporary. They believe failure is feedback, not identity. They believe growth is possible even in the darkest seasons. That belief fuels their perseverance. It helps them stay grounded when everything feels uncertain. It gives them something to hold on to when nothing else makes sense. And here's what's powerful: belief can be built. Even if you've struggled with self-doubt your whole life, even if resilience doesn't come naturally, you can train your mind to believe in your capacity. It starts by noticing your inner dialogue. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself when things go wrong. Do you criticize? Do you catastrophize? Or do you offer yourself the same encouragement you'd give a friend? You can shift that voice. You can teach it to be steady, kind, and strong. And when you do, you'll begin to respond to challenges differently. You'll take more risks, recover faster, and stay anchored when life feels overwhelming. Belief doesn't mean pretending you have it all figured out. It just means choosing to trust that you'll find a way, even if you don't know how yet. That trust becomes the seed of resilience, and resilience, in turn, creates growth, confidence, and peace. So if you want to become more mentally resilient, start with belief. Not in a perfect version of yourself, but in the real you, the one who has already made it through so much. Remind yourself daily, I've handled hard things before. I can handle this too. That single thought can carry you farther than you realize. It won't remove the difficulty, but it will remind you that you're not defined by it. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about believing always that you can rise. Strength is often misunderstood. We're taught to associate it with toughness, endurance, and the ability to keep pushing no matter what. In many cultures, strength looks like grinding through exhaustion, staying emotionally detached, or always having the last word. But real strength isn't always loud or forceful. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like choosing kindness when anger would be easier. Sometimes it's giving yourself permission to rest when the world tells you to keep going. Kindness and rest are not signs of weakness. They are profound expressions of strength. Kindness takes courage. It's easy to be kind when people agree with you, when you're well rested, when everything is going your way. But true kindness shows up when it's hard, when someone offends you, disappoints you, or misunderstands you. It shows up in moments when your ego wants to fight, but you choose empathy instead. That choice is powerful. It requires self-control, emotional maturity, and a deep sense of security in who you are. We often assume that kind people are soft or passive, but that's not the case. Kindness is. Not the absence of boundaries or the willingness to be walked over. In fact, some of the kindest people have the firmest boundaries. Their kindness doesn't come from a need to please, but from a place of inner strength. They know they don't need to tear others down to feel strong. They don't need to dominate to feel respected. They choose to lead with grace, not because they're weak, but because they're wise. Similarly, rest is a form of strength we rarely celebrate. In a society that glorifies busyness, rest is often mistaken for laziness. We're praised for late nights, packed calendars, and burning the candle at both ends. But there is nothing admirable about running yourself into the ground. Real strength is knowing when to step back, when to say, I've done enough for today, when to listen to your body instead of pushing through the pain. Rest takes discipline. It requires you to be in tune with yourself and to resist the pressure to prove your worth through constant activity. Rest is also where recovery, clarity, creativity are born. Athletes know this recovery is part of training. Leaders who build sustainable teams understand this. Burnout helps no one. When you rest, you return to your work, your relationships, and your purpose with more energy, more focus, and more resilience. Choosing rest isn't quitting. It's preparing. It's protecting your future self. It takes strength to admit you need a break. It takes strength to say no to things that deplete you. And it takes strength to prioritize your mental and emotional health in a culture that rewards self-neglect. But the people who last, who lead with purpose and impact, are not those who push the hardest. They're the ones who learn to rest, recover, and return. Kindness and rest are connected in another way. They both reflect how you treat yourself. If you're constantly critical of yourself, if you push yourself without compassion, it's hard to extend that grace to others. But when you begin to treat yourself with kindness, allowing yourself rest, forgiving your mistakes, recognizing your humanity, you naturally become more generous with others. You lead with softness, not because the world is soft, but because you become strong enough to meet it with peace. So don't buy into the myth that strength is only about pressure, endurance, or control. Strength is also softness. It's the ability to pause, to care, to listen, to choose love over pride and rest over burnout. In those quiet moments of kindness and rest, you're not falling behind, you're becoming the kind of person the world desperately needs, strong, steady, and whole. The way you see the world shapes the world you experience. Your mindset, the set of beliefs, attitudes, and assumptions you carry acts like a lens, filtering everything you encounter. Two people can go through the exact same situation and come out with completely different interpretations simply because of the way they think. That's the power of mindset. It doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects what you notice, how you respond, and what becomes possible for you. In that sense, you don't just live in the world, you live in the world your mind creates. Mindset is not just a motivational buzzword, it's the engine behind every decision you make. If you believe the world is hostile, you will always be on guard. If you believe opportunities are scarce, you'll approach everything with fear and competition. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll sabotage your progress before it even starts. But when you begin to shift that internal narrative, when you adopt a mindset that is open, curious, resilient, you start to notice a new world emerging. One with possibilities you couldn't see before. What you focus on expands. If your mind is trained to look for what's wrong, that's what you'll find. If your mind is trained to look for growth, for learning, for silver linings, even in hard moments, you'll find those too. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing the most empowering lens through which to interpret reality. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control the meaning you assign to it. And that meaning determines your experience. A growth mindset, for example, believes that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. It sees challenges as opportunities, failures as feedback, and effort as a path to mastery. People with this mindset don't fear being wrong, they see it as part of the process. On the other hand, a fixed mindset believes that abilities are static. It sees setbacks as proof of inadequacy and criticism as a personal attack. This belief system doesn't just limit your potential, it distorts your perception of what you're even capable of achieving. Mindset also influences how you show up in relationships. If you believe people are generally good, you'll approach others with trust and openness. If you believe no one can be trusted, you'll hold back and your interactions will reflect suspicion. In time, people may even respond to you based on how you treat them, reinforcing your original belief. That's the self-fulfilling loop of mindset. What you expect tends to become what you experience. Your mindset also plays a major role in your ability to handle adversity. People with resilient mindsets don't deny pain or difficulty, but they do choose how to engage with it. They ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What's still within my control? That shift in thinking doesn't erase the struggle, but it gives it meaning. And meaning is what makes people resilient. Reframing your mindset isn't always easy. It takes awareness and repetition. You have to learn to catch your thoughts, question them, and replace the ones that are limiting. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Over time, your mind becomes a place of possibility instead of self-doubt. Your inner voice becomes a coach, not a critic. And your outlook becomes rooted in agency, not fear. Ultimately, your mindset is the foundation on which your entire life is built. It affects how you feel, how you act, and what you believe is possible. Shift your mindset, and your entire reality begins to shift with it, not because the world has changed, but because you have. And that change is what makes all the difference.